Thank you for joining us for another COVID cast. Today, my name is Stacy Ziarko. I'm the president and CEO of the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce. I'm here today with Luke Bonner, the Senior Economic Development Advisor with the City of Sterling Heights, Steve Couchman from Live Picture and our technology extraordinaire. And our special guest today is Amanda Herr from SocialFuel, here today to talk to us a little bit about we realize we're in unprecedented times, and it's all about being creative, and it's all about making your organization and your business stand out. And so Amanda's here to tell us some of the good and possibly some of the bad that she has seen over the last couple of weeks. So Amanda, thanks for being here today, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Yes, so we're going to talk today about what's important and how to actually message. So I'm going to give you some examples of the good, and as Stacy said, examples of maybe the not so good, but we're going to end up with a message that actually works for you and works for your business. So one of the things that I have been asked over the last few weeks during this unprecedented time is basically, what do people need to hear? And it is interesting because it's different by target audience, but the one thing that remains the same across audiences is that people need to hear that you're there for them. So in digital marketing, which is what I do, I'm a digital marketing agency, but digital marketing is very personal. That's the main difference between a traditional marketing and a digital marketing. It's very, very personal when you are online. So now when we're all forced into these online conversations, people are asking, how do I shift or pivot my message? The most important thing that we all need to remember is that we need to be speaking to someone and giving them a solution. So before, we may have been more salesy, where it was like, buy my service or buy my product. And it was very much in your face. Now it needs to be a little bit more of a soft step. And we need to remember that we're talking to one person behind one screen most of the time with what we're trying to do right now. So it's not about talking to the masses. You need to speak to me, because many times people are feeling maybe a little bit alone. They could be feeling a little bit frightened about what's going on right now. They've seen everything in the market change, so they're not sure where they want to spend their money. So they need to trust you. So the conversation overall needs to be about them, not about you. So you need to be able to discuss what you're trying to provide them in a manner where it solves their problem. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So for instance, I always use the example of a school, and in this case, it's kind of apropos, but I have a client that is a school, and we don't talk about our students. We never say our students have the opportunity to whatever that might be. We always say your child will have the opportunity to experience, and the changing of that wording makes it so I'm not just thinking of some innocuous student. I am now seeing my daughter's face when you're speaking to me. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. So another thing that people have come to me and said, I'm not sure, where do I get, creative? Like, where would I even find something to use to market? I would say you actually find it with your clients. It's called user-generated content, and user-generated content is some of the most fun and creative content that you can provide or that you can have. So for instance, when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the people who are already in your stable, let's say. You give them the opportunity to actually highlight themselves with your product. So for instance, I have a client, Emmanuel Lutheran, who is obviously a church, and what they've done is provide a hashtag so that their congregation or anyone that's watching their live stream of their services actually will post on their social. So again, it's on their own personal social, these people, and they're using the hashtag IamLutheran. So then what Emmanuel does is they go to each platform, they get everyone's photos or their videos, they put that all together, and they create a video for the ramp up into the service for the next week. So what that does is it gives them a sense of including everyone. It gives the people who are stuck at home and have to worship on their own watching a live stream the feeling like they're part of something bigger than themselves, and it comforts them for seeing everyone's faces, and it helps them really get into what Emmanuel is about to do, which is the service. So that's another way that you can actually market. So that's a good one. One other good one, and I have quite a few good ones. I only have one bad one, so that's good. Another good one is the Friendship Factory. Have you guys heard of the Friendship Factory? Okay. Friendship Factory is awesome. One of my good friends, Julie Quarry, she's actually the owner, and they years ago invented a friendship bracelet maker that kids will actually use to make these little cute bracelets, right? Huge with little girls. That actually treated into a whole company, and now they just launched a party palace. I think it's called the Glitter Garage, which, I mean, come on. So how could you not have fun at the Glitter Garage, right? So the Glitter Garage was just launching, and it's a party place, but they were just launching and COVID happened. So now what they've done, and they've pivoted and gotten very creative, is they've taken their on-site parties and they've made them virtual parties, and they've actually driven the kits, including like even cookie decorating kits, to homes and no contact delivery in Macomb and Oakland County. So $25, you get to go on Zoom, have a big party, your kids get something to do when they're at home. They deliver to you right at your door. And now what have they done? They have become a solution to a problem. They're making sure that your kids are happy, they're engaged. And not only that, but they're promoting their product. They're promoting their launch for when the doors open. And so who are you going to think about going to when you want to have a birthday party? You're going to think about the people who supported you when you were stuck at home. So you're going to go to the Friendship Factory and the Glitter Garage. So that was, I think, one of the coolest ways that I saw people support their actual community around them. So it is about support, like I said. It's about treating into a need, and it's about giving them a solution so that when things happen and the doors open, you are the first one that they think about. Now, the one bad, I guess, I hate to say bad, but the one not so great, let's say, example that I have is there was a company, which I won't say the name, but on social media, someone started complaining because this community-based small business who sells product, like let's say groceries, wink, and it's a very small building. So they decided that they're not going to allow people to shop at their building, but they would deliver it to your car. So you're thinking, well, fantastic. What a great way to support the community who has supported you all these years. But instead, the owner has decided that even though you can't go in to shop, he's going to charge you $3.95 to bring your groceries to the car. So not only can I not go into your store, but just to give you the opportunity to stay alive as a local business, I now have to pay you to do that so that you'll bring my groceries to my car. I can see, whereas if I could go into your office or your business and I decided to stay in my car, but I can't go into the building. So people got on social media and started just hammering this company. And rather than trying to explain it in a nice way, the owner actually came on and started hammering back. So this owner has actually lost the opportunity to be a hometown hero, to be a supporter of his community, which is a small community, by the way. And he's now actually gone the other way. So when the doors are open, no one's going to be coming back because they're very upset that he's doing what he's doing right now. So that's an example of what not to do. And then I have to talk about my company a little bit. So SocialFuel has been doing free webinars. So the reason why I do free webinars every week is because I know that some people are looking to figure out how to do things differently or market differently. So digital marketing has never been more important than it is right now. And you're starting from kind of like the ground floor a lot of times. If you're starting a new business, if you've decided to become an entrepreneur because of what's been going on. So I want to help people do that. Now, obviously, I want them to still think of me when the doors open and come back to me for the help that they need. But altruistically, for me, it is also helping people. So I've done free webinars for the last 5 weeks. The last one is actually Thursday, and it's at noon, and it's about LinkedIn and how to use LinkedIn for business. So I've had Instagram, Facebook, you name it, and I've pretty much done a free webinar about it. But the reason why I'm doing that is twofold. Selfishly, I need something to do. And then outside of that, I want to help people. And in the long run, it's going to help my company as well. So to wrap that whole conversation up, what do people need in marketing overall? You should be solutions based and actually partnering, because that's what builds loyalty at all times. But right now, what they really need is for you to make them feel a little bit of normal. Give them something that they can actually use and feel hopeful about. And for someone who may be out of work, possibly give them something that says, there is a tomorrow, and not expect anything back. Because if you expect anything back, it's not going to work. But if you're just happy with whatever happens when those doors open, then you're going to be successful.
Matt, you want to give us a sneak peek on your LinkedIn webinar?
Yeah, absolutely. The LinkedIn webinar is focused specifically on the company page. So I am going to be going through how to create a company page on LinkedIn, what you should have on your company page in LinkedIn, how to find content that people like, and then how to find the audience. So how to use hashtags, how to tag yourself, all of those types of things. And then we may or may not, if we have time, touch on how to advertise your company on LinkedIn. So there's a lot that can be done on LinkedIn for businesses that actually will kind of grow an audience and over time will translate into sales. So yeah, thanks for asking about that.
What, you want to give us some details on time?
Oh, how to do it?
No, when
How to sign up?
Oh, how to sign up, yeah. It's on Thursday, this Thursday. It's at 12 noon, and you can go to my Facebook page, which is SocialFuel Media. It's in the event section, and there's actually a link there. Or you can go to my website, which is socialfuelmedia.com. Go to the courses and workshops section, and then you can click on the LinkedIn webinar link there. You're
going to record it and have it available for after?
Yes, actually, if you sign up, and this is why I ask people to register, because I would love to have them on my list so I can send them more information later, but B, it sends them the Zoom link, and then after that, if they can't make it live, I will actually send them a recording of it. So even if you're not there with me, you'll actually get the information as well.
So I got a big open-ended question
okay.
for you. I saw on Twitter last week, no, maybe 2 weeks ago, somebody had posted that given what's going on right now, you as an employee will know if this is the company you should continue to work for. Yeah. Meaning, how is your company handling this current situation, but also how are they managing employees and their lives and their issues. Also brings to light the real popular entrepreneur who's on LinkedIn quite a bit in TED Talks, but Simon Sinek and his whole, why movement. If you're getting into business, you need to figure out why you're doing it. And so as all of this is going on right now, this is becoming a survival of the fittest, unfortunately. But in your opinion, do you think there's going to be a specific difference between the companies that have really focused on their why and how successful they are coming out of this versus companies that are more driven towards, old cliche, more driven, focused on the bottom line? Yeah.
That's actually a really good question. As far as being driven by your why, and regardless of COVID, the company would be more successful. Anybody that's driven on the why. Right now, especially with millennials in the workplace and just overall, I think people have reevaluated over the past few years how business is done. And the employees that are working for companies that actually focus on the why are happier employees. And when a happy employee works, he works more and he'll work more for the company to grow. So I think focusing on the why overall is good, but especially right now during what's going on, I think it goes back to what I was saying. Focusing on the why and the soul of what your company is about, and making sure that that's being displayed by how you're treating your employees, how you're treating your current customers, how you're speaking to people who might be interested in your services and products. That's what's going to resonate, and that's what's going to be remembered. Anybody that's just out there to make a buck right now is going to lose out in the end, because any company just trying to make a buck and just wants to churn and burn is going to consistently have to refill those coffers, because no one's going to stick with them. And just like that customer or that grocery store that I mentioned, when they're not focused on a client or a customer, they're going to lose that client or customer. And that in the long run is going to hit the bottom line. So to answer your question, Luke, I think now more than ever, but it has always been, if you focus on your why, you will be successful more than the other guy. Does that make sense?
It does. Got another question for you. Have you seen or observed any competitors now potentially working with one another? My opinion is it's probably unethical to start marketing towards your competitors' customers when you know that they're in really, really tough shape.
Yeah.
Have you seen any examples of someone who's just really, really struggling and competitor comes in to either partner with them or figure out a way to kind of work together and take on their clients in a more meaningful and productive way versus poaching in maybe a more unethical way?
Yeah, it's funny because I had actually written down partnership as something that I wanted to talk about. So I'm glad you asked that. Actually, partnership has become more prevalent, and I think it's happening a lot in digital marketing overall. But I think I see it happening in more of the traditional routes with the companies now as well. But it's basically happening before COVID, and it's kind of an incubator now with traditional companies during COVID. But before COVID, you would see a lot of companies like my own partner with other companies to help support. So like somebody who, like Brenda Meller, who's a Meller Marketing, she's someone who's a LinkedIn expert. So sometimes we don't necessarily partner, but we'll promote each other back and forth and help each other grow. And I think that's because we realize that there's enough for everybody out there in the space that we're in. And she lives and breathes LinkedIn, so she can help me, and I live and breathe all this other nerdy stuff, so I can help her. So that's been going on in my space for a while. But now I do think you're seeing traditional companies come together to help each other and during this time. So rather than, like you said, poach someone else's client, which would be kind of disgusting right now, what they're doing is they're coming together and they're saying, okay, I have this skill set, you have that skill set, I'm kind of floundering over here, let's come together. And then like later on, they might pull apart. But right now, I am seeing a lot of people, like some of my clients actually have asked me to put them together so that they can talk to each other and say, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And they're not necessarily going to marry their companies, but they're sharing some of their secrets. So good question.
Right.
So Amanda, my question to you too is that we talk a lot about what we should be doing right now. How do we also transition when times have, you come back to whatever our new normal is, where we're still focusing on our why, but we're focusing also still to that bottom line? How do we start communicating that transitional time frame?
Yeah, good question. It's going to be a while. I was just talking to someone, my financial person yesterday, actually, and he was telling me that he feels like it's going to take 4 to 5 times the quarantine time in order for everything to kind of balance out. So by the end of the year. So what I would say is don't come right out of the gate like a racing horse thinking that you're going to sell everything. I think that the communication that we currently have, and while I'm saying it's focus on your why and it's solutions based, I'm not saying don't focus on your bottom line. I'm saying give information that's helpful for someone, but is also helpful for you too. And you're building a relationship. So when the doors open, you continue to build the relationship and maybe continue to give information, be the person you were, same person that you were in quarantine, same company, but now you're just providing more information and more opportunity to purchase service and product. And then you can start turning it on slower and then go full force maybe 3 months into it. But don't turn the spigot off right now. I would never, like right now you can still sell. It's just the way that you're selling. And then when the doors open, you're still selling. It's just you're heating it up a little bit more. But it's almost like, I always say it's like when you're dating and like for that first 3 months, you know, they're just like, awesome. And then all of a sudden you're like, who are you, right? Don't do that. Make sure that you are the same person that you met, right, in the beginning. So quarantine Amanda or quarantine SocialFuel is going to be the same as after quarantine SocialFuel. It's just I'm going to change my messaging and heat up what I'm marketing as I go on. So my offers are going to be smaller when the doors open. My larger offers are going to be later on, maybe 3-4 months down the line. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, interesting.
Absolutely.
That was great, Amanda.
Well, thank you.
I got one question.
Oh boy.
Should business owners be, you know, I'm looking at it right now, and you know, my business is kind of going through a transition myself. I mean, I was primarily a trade show display company. So as soon as everything started shutting down, I mean, it hit me 3 weeks before everybody else did.
Yeah.
So have you noticed out there a lot of different marketing companies pivoting into newer technologies or stressing, hey, now's a good downtime where we really want to look at your website SEO, or we want to look at that social platform that we want to implement? Do you still see people out there spending money and making those changes, or is it just kind of everybody's kind of taking this time to gather their thoughts and that kind of thing?
I see a lot of foundation building. So I see a lot of, can you help me fix my website? I see a lot of people who are wondering what SEO is and maybe finally paying attention to it. But I do see them looking at what they're going to do. They're planning for the rollout. Like now is the time people are starting to say, what are we going to look at or look like when we come out of this? We had to cancel this. What can we do to replace that? When will we be able to have on-site marketing? All of that kind of thing. So they're looking at what does the future hold. But what I've seen over the last month, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls about, is really that foundational piece. No one, you know, a lot of times entrepreneurs is who I work with. I work with entrepreneurs and small businesses, a lot of nonprofits. They don't have the time to really focus on that foundational piece. So when they do have that time, which is now, that's when they're taking that. But they're planning for the future too. So like some of my clients haven't, like the churches, they're like scrambling right now because they had to do live stream. They had to figure out how that conversation was going to go, all of that stuff. But then other clients who are more on the nonprofit and have full stop, there's nothing they can do. They've been able to actually move the digital needle farther than they've ever been able to do it before. Does that answer your question? Yeah. So, and one of the cool things that I've been able to do just as my company is we're actually implementing. So now I have, you know, a whole stable, a whole team that works with me. And so when my clients come to me and they say, I don't necessarily want to learn how to do this stuff, I want to actually have you do it. So now my team, I've been able to get my whole team together and we're actually implementing. So all those people who now see the benefit in that digital marketing, we're actually, you know, selfishly, I guess, in a way, able to take that and run with it.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
It's good to see people are still spending time now on strategy to a certain extent. I guess the one upside is there's a lot of, clearing of the deck and giving you time to reflect and think and organize.
Yeah.
Even for myself, I'm updating my website. So I have
Yeah.
a new skin on it, a lot of more information on it, a lot of testimonials on it.
Mm-hmm.
I finally had time to sit down and think about it and get stuff done. So
Yeah, actually, absolutely. And that's what I hear a lot of. And testimonials are extremely important. So I'm glad that you have those on there, because right now you just said clearing the deck, and it's kind of like let's cut the BS, for lack of a better term, is what people want. They want just, let's get to the meat of this. Like, how can you fix this for me? So I think that's awesome.
I want to keep going. Is it okay? I've got more questions.
Yeah, go for it. I'm fine. Yeah, absolutely.
How, I've also read some articles about this, but how likely do you think it will be more prevalent that workforce will be distributed, especially technology related workforce, on a more regular basis? And therefore, or the reason for it is, one, you've got issues like what we're dealing with right now.
Mm-hmm.
Two, a significant reduction in overhead.
Yeah.
So you start eliminating office, which
Mm-hmm.
has another effect on, the commercial real estate market.
Yeah.
But how likely do you think it's going to be that there will be more, remote and distributed employees, especially in the tech industry, after all of this?
Yeah. Remote employees overall. I think it's the tech industry. I think it's going to be the sales industry. Salespeople don't necessarily need to be in an office. If that's what you mean by remote and distributed. Yeah. I think that you're going to see that companies will realize that it's cheaper to have people work from home. They're going to see how, people are actually working when they say that they're working at home, and work from home no longer is going to have that kind of tarnish on it, where people are like, oh, she's working from home today. That's the way it used to be when I was at CNN. Somebody would work from home, but I think that people are going to see the value in it. I also think that places like the Collaborative, which is a co-working space that I use in Mount Clemens, they're fantastic. And you're going to see more people using places like the Collaborative, called Jesse Black, by the way, the Collaborative. You're going to see more and more of that. And one of the benefits of something like that you may not even think of is, a lot of times we are in an office, we're like this, right? And when we need to grow business, we need to be more like this, you can't see, but you need to be talking to people who are in, not just people doing the same thing you're doing. You need to be talking to people who are in the industries that you need to reach, et cetera, not necessarily, going to be at a luncheon that you go to. And what these collaborative co-working spaces do is, you can go in and there's people that you can network with from all different areas, right? All different types of companies. And so you're going to see how they do things. So you'll get ideas on how to do your business better. So there's going to be a lot of distribution, but there's going to be a lot of creativity that comes out of this as well, if people embrace it the way that I think that they will.
So you bring up a real interesting point, and I was going to ask you that for my next question. So in Sterling Heights, we're actually building out a co-working space.
Oh, love.
At Velocity. We had to stop after the demolition was completed because of current restrictions on work rules. My thinking was that what's going on now could ultimately kill the co-working, I don't know what you call it, the co-working fad, if you will, mm-hmm. because you're now putting people from all different areas together in one space where there's a lot of mingling intentionally going on, a lot of working next to each other going on. Mm-hmm. I thought what's happening now might actually kill that concept completely, but you think it actually will be even more successful after the fact?
I think if it's marketed well, it'll be successful after the fact. I think that people are going to have concern in the short term. I mean, remember, we're dealing hopefully with a short-term 6-foot separation, right? I want to hug my mom too, very soon. So we're dealing with a short-term situation as far as the 6-foot rule, I think, even if we're not. having a space where different types of businesses get together and can share information and can actually collaborate, hence the name of the one co-working space, will be a viable business model. If it's just like, hey, here's a space that you can work and you can park here for the day is the marketing, that's not going to work. If you focus on the benefits of what they get outside of just a space, it's the community that you're creating, that will work, I feel.
Yeah, look, I look at the opportunity over at the open workspace over at Velocity as, you know, I think a lot of companies like myself, mine and Amanda's, or companies like it, would see if they had, you know, hey, I can just virtualize the staff and not have to pay for an
Absolutely
dedicated office in a building. You know, once a week, let's get together over at the co-working space, have some gourmet coffee and talk about our projects and meet up for a half a day or something like that. And then
Gourmet coffee, Steve, you're bringing drinks. You're bringing alcoholic beverages.
Fine.
Space.
You know, dude, come on. You know.
Well, then I'm moving. I'm going to go over there. But
Oh, there's always wine in Velocity.
yeah, oh, I like that. There's beer over at the collaborative. But
oh, there's beer too.
yeah. Oh, see,
That's not
okay.
how it works.
Well, and then I was gonna say too, like I work from home. So like Steve, I think that you work from home a lot too, right? So
I can't.
like,
Well, actually, I have an office over at Velocity because a lot of what I do is actually manufacturing type stuff. So I need
Okay.
a space that's not my garage. I mean, I learned about over a year ago that building aluminum extrusions in your garage in November leads to frostbite. So, you know, you have to have a spot. So, you know, I could, but if I was just doing the marketing things that I'm doing now, it would be very easy to use a open working space or something like that. You know, also Luke and I are we're talking about assets for that open working space where there's actually going to be a virtual reality center that's basically at the disposal of the tenants of the co-working space. So
that's amazing.
if they want to learn about it, if they want to work on the technology, if they want to collaborate on projects, anything like that, that's also going to be available there as well.
I'll be there. I will so be there. I would say too, I was just going to say that there's a lot of people like me who I need to get out of my house. So that collaboration, I mean, my whole team, I have a team across the US and we're all from our houses, and I need to get outside, not only just because I need to see other people. My creativity really goes down if I don't get some energy from other people. And creativity is key to what I do. So I think that there's going to be a space. And then also, I would say, to your point, Steve, if you have things that other people aren't offering, first of all, there is nowhere else here in this area that does a co-working space that I know of other than the collaborative. So I think you're going to really do well with this one at Velocity. But if you have things like a podcasting studio that people can use to do their podcasts, I would be there in a heartbeat. If you had anything like that they could use, if you have a graphic designer that they could hire from, you know, a stable of people or something, right? We'll see what I mean? But like provide the services that create a community, but also create opportunity for the businesses that you're looking and you're seeking to bring in, and be different in that way, so that again, you know, get us all talking together and get us all working together so that we're loyal to your spot and we don't move over somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. That's the plan. We have more time to think about it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this was Amanda. I knew this was going to be great.
Oh, you're so nice. You guys, thank you so much. I love doing this stuff and I love seeing you guys. It's really nice to see that everyone is doing okay. So
yeah, this is great. Thank
Excellent.
you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Talking to
thank
you.
you. Bye, guys.
Bye.